All right, guys, we just lost in the NFC Championship game to the San Francisco 49ers 16 to 10. This is an interesting game. I mean, all preseason games are, to be honest. There's not like you don't want to look at everything during preseason games, but there are obviously like the standout things that everyone looks for, like the time the starters get, specific players, high profile rookies, all that kind of shit that you look for in a preseason game. And this game had a little bit of it. It was kind of boring towards the back end, but that's how it tends to go with preseason games. It'll be like super dope for a little bit and then like the worst shit ever for the next hour and a half. So that's what happened today. First, I'd like to apologize for being gone for 8 years. It just I wasn't really focused on YouTube during the off season, which is my bad. But once the season is back, which it is now, I'm gonna start making videos again because I do like talking about the Saints and all that jazz. So let's go over some stats, talk about the game itself. You know what I'm saying? See what went on. So the main thing that everybody looks for when it comes to preseason games are the starters. Last week, they fucking sucked. Like, they were so bad. It was the most disappointing shit ever. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm literally going to watch this for a whole nother year again for like the fourth year in a row. So that's what, we were just down in the dumps. Not Pete Carmichael. Dennis Allen said earlier this week that the starters will be getting more play time, and that's what we saw. They got a couple drives. I think it was like 2 bad drives and a good drive, or 2 bad drives, no, 3 bad. It was a couple drives, and one of them was good, and ended up capping it off with a Taysom Hill touchdown run. Derek Carr was 7 for 9 for 47 yards. He didn't look terrible. He was throwing a couple of hospital balls to Chris Olave per usual, which is something that Michael Thomas was bitching about on his departure. So that's not awesome to see. I'd rather Chris Olave not end up with CTE in his 4th year and leave the stadium in a wheelchair after getting another hospital ball thrown his way. So yeah, that was interesting. The running game actually looked good when our starting offensive line was out there, part of our starting offensive line was out there. We still didn't get to see Fuga play, so that kind of sucks, but he's going through like a back injury, so we just have to wait to see how that goes. But I liked the creativity. The play calling was a lot better than I've seen in years. There was some motion going on. We were doing some outside runs that were actually working. We were using Taysom Hill as a fullback. It was pretty sick, dude. I was like really happy with what I saw play calling wise, even though we didn't do the best job I mean, it's preseason. We're just now getting back to, playing football again, and it's normal to start off a little slow. But I was happy to see that we could put the ball in the end zone, even though it took a while. This is random, but Landon Young fucking sucks. And if I see him on that field at all this season, I'm turning the game off because he is so dog shit. I think he played a little bit with the starters. It looked terrible. Our offensive line, it was doing great in the run game, but as far as pass protection, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And Landon Young and Trevor Penning are the first people that catch my eye. I will say Trevor Penning did do better this week than last week. I feel like I didn't notice he was there as much, which is a good thing because usually when Trevor Penning's name is being said, he either had a egregious holding penalty on a great play or just allowed 4 sacks in back-to-back succession. So it was good to not know that he was on the field, and hopefully he can keep it that way by not sucking actual dick all the time. But yeah, that's about it for the starters. It was pretty good. Our defense looked amazing. Oh, Chase Young. I don't want to go any further without talking about Chase Young. He played so good today. He looked like everything that I've ever wanted and more. The amount of pressure he was applying. Brock Purdy was running for his life, dude. Like, he was in there every 2 seconds. Every single snap, he was in there. He was in the pocket. He was fucking shit up. He was disrupting everything. Carl Granderson also looked good. The normal players on our defensive line looked really good. Our defensive line in general looked great. As far as the secondary goes, Alontae Taylor looked really good. And Rico Payton balled today, so that's good. So, yeah, that's about it for the starters. It's neither here nor there. They did pretty good, but I'm excited to see more out of them in the regular season because I don't know if they're going to play in games 3 and 4. We'll just have to see. Spencer Rattler, he didn't look as good as he did the first go around today, and I'm not going to say it was entirely his fault whatsoever because he really didn't look that bad. His pocket presence was a little bit shady. He looked like he was less in control than last week. He was 4 for 8 with 27 yards. He was sacked twice, so our offensive line was doing him no favors. There were also a decent amount of drop passes. His confidence was just shook because of all the negatives going on, and he never really found a way to bounce back. But, overall, he didn't look terrible, but didn't look like the Spencer Rattler we saw last week. So hopefully, given more time in these preseason games, he can develop. And of course, he's a rookie, so he's going to have all the time in the world to sit behind Derek Carr while he loses us 11 games next season. And he can absorb as much information as Derek Carr can give him, which is probably not that much. But as far as leadership goes, I guess that quality's there. Yeah, he looked all right. Not really much else to say there. Jake Haener looked okay. He was 7 for 13 with 76 yards. He had a couple of good balls, a couple of really bad balls. It's just another 50-50 with him. I don't really know how to feel about him. I don't really think there's anything there potential-wise, but who knows? He could shock us. Our run game looked a lot better than it did last week and a lot better than it did in the last few years in general. Jordan Mims had 10 carries for 37 yards. He averaged 3.7 yards per carry. This one was a shocker here. Jamal Williams had 5 carries for 32 yards and averaged 6.4 yards per carry and had seemingly the longest run he ever has had and ever will have because he has 0 burst whatsoever, but had a pretty nice run today. It was like 12, 13 yards, something like that, so that was good to see. James Robinson had 5 carries for 27 yards. Taysom Hill had 5 carries for 21 yards and a touchdown. So altogether, we were averaging 4 or 5 yards per carry on the running backs that actually got some decent carries. So there's a lot of talent in this room. I'm excited to see how Alvin Kamara runs the football with the new pieces on our offensive line and also the changes in play calling. Hopefully he doesn't just get thrown out to the wolves like Pete Carmichael was doing and just shoved up the middle to get absolutely murdered when our offense is generating 2 yards per pass, so everyone knows we're going to be running the football. Hopefully things are looking up. I am excited to see what this season has to offer. It's Dennis Allen's 3rd year as the New Orleans Saints head coach. Hopefully he doesn't fuck it up anymore and he can actually, do something productive. That would be awesome. And I hope, because Clint Kubiak did look really good today, I hope that's a sign of things to come. He was calling some good plays. I know we only put up 10 points, but we had actual Walmart cashiers playing for 90% of the game. Our starters scored, and some of our backup guys really shined. Sorry if I left somebody out. It's been a while since I've recorded a video. Please leave in the comments who you think I should have touched on more, and I will do so in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.